Hi guys, it's Sherry. Today we're going to be working on a necklace that's going to have faux gemstones. So let's get right to it. So these are my cutters, and I rolled out my black Primo clay to my thickest setting, and I also have my red clay and my blue clay. And what we're going to do is we are going to slice our red clay about that thickness, okay? I'm going to let me cut off a slice here first. And my first step after that is just going to be cutting my pieces out, just so I have an idea of where I am working with these. So I know that's going to be that side, and then that one's going to be facing that way. I'm going to kind of keep them facing in the right direction, so when I decorate them, I know they're going to be the same. Okay. Then I want to take my blue clay, and I'm just going to kind of slice them in different shapes. Nothing has to be the same. We're just going to get different shapes to make them look like stones. And I'm just going to kind of break them up here so I know they're not going to stick together. If any of them are too thin, just toss those off to the side. They start curling. And I'm going to do the same with my red. And it might be easier to use my other blade. I'm just making them into like little triangles. And remember, stones are not perfect, so these definitely do not have to be perfect. We just want them small and thin, so we don't have to press them into the clay too much. So I just want to kind of break those up a little bit. All right, so I'm going to, oops, that did not cut all the way through. So let's just trim that. There we go. Put the black clay off to the side. I'm just going to clean this up a bit because it did not cut very nice. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is just take my little triangles, and I want to start putting them around my necklace piece. It does not have to be perfect, like I said. We just want to lay them around. I just want to kind of make them look like there's little red stones laying inside my pendant. So far, that looks pretty good. Now, I'm going to take my blues. Oops. And I'm just going to lay these right in here as well. Now we're going to get a piece of paper. I just have a piece of tissue paper here. And then, I got all this clay on me. I'm just going to lightly burnish this. And I do not want to push hard because I do not want to mush the clay. I just want to smooth out the clay and get all those little poke marks that I put on there. All right, you see how it's slightly pushing into the clay. I don't want it to go any further than that because then it's not going to look like a natural stone. Okay. I'm going to go a little bit into that black there. If you see any that are real close, just kind of use your knife to separate them. All right. Now I'm going to so that's what it looks like so far, guys. My next step is I am going to take my black clay, and this I am going to make a noodle, but I am going to end up painting this when it's all done. So let's get our, I'm actually going to get my tool here. Let me open this up. And I'm going to soften my clay first. Okay, stick that in. This just helps keep my noodles all the same size. That's why I like using this once in a while. Okay. I'll just grab one. Put that off to the side for the time being. Right here is fine. And I am just going to make this just a tiny bit skinnier. Not much, just a little bit. And then just take this and we are going to just edge it. And I'm actually going to bring this over so I can smooth this all out properly. And make sure it's all lined up nicely. Otherwise, it doesn't look as pretty. Because we want this, when it's all said and done, we want our edge to look like a piece of metal. I have decided what I'm going to do is I actually am going to get my ballpoint tool and I'm just going to kind of mark these up in different areas. I'm going to get my bigger one actually because I want them to look a little bit more natural. So I'm thinking if I kind of put a little texture on them, that'll help. Here we go. And I don't want a lot. I just want them to kind of be a little marked. So they're not perfect and flat. You know, if you put a little bit of indents in them, they look a little bit more natural for stones. Most stones are not perfect and flat. And I'm not pushing too hard because I don't want to mush the clay. I just want to mark them up. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to show you. See, it has a little bit more texture to it now. Okay, so let's put this off to the side. I'll put that right on my tile. And then I'm going to start on the next section. So I'm actually going to push that off to the side, and I'm going to start fresh with my red. And these ones I'm going to do a little bit smaller because it's a smaller piece. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to make my triangles. And actually, we'll put the corner piece facing in, maybe, like that. Oops. Nope, that won't work. That looks funny. Okay, so take that off. I'm going to put it straight like that. So today, our weather is crazy. We have all this rain, and then we have snow starting, and it is cold, and I mean cold, and I do not like the cold at all. So I figured since I was stuck in the house, I would try something new. And I saw a metal necklace like this, and I thought, wow, I could really make that myself. And that's kind of how I started with this piece. Sometimes when you're buying jewelry, it's so expensive, but if you can make it yourself, that's wonderful. So I figured I would attempt it and see how this all comes out. All right, this one's a nice small piece, perfect for this edge. This is definitely going to be a beautiful statement piece, I think. Okay, very pleased with that. I think that came out pretty cool. Now I'm just going to cut up my blue, and I'm going to make this smaller than these chunks because those chunks are a little big for this section. Oops. There we go. And these, I don't want triangles. I want to make just weird, different shapes. So some squares, some triangles. You can see I'm making these ones much skinnier, so I know they're fit, so they'll fit in here nicely. All right. I actually really like the smaller pieces in there better than the larger pieces. I think that really looks cute. So now we're going to get our, let's get this out of here. We're going to get our noodle and we're going to do the same thing. Actually, I'm running out of space here. And I'm just going to kind of bump up my sides here because I think if I do that, it'll help the piece look a little bit more like hammered metal. So I'm going to do that as well. I'm just lightly tapping. And push that over right in the middle. There we go. And then I'm going to get my blue, and then I am going to slice this up real small to get it inside my piece here. Because we just need a little bit. There we go. I just love this little mosaic look. You could do so many things with this. I really have like a lot of ideas going on in my head as I'm doing this. So I may end up playing around and really creating a bunch of different ideas for these guys. Once again, I'm just kind of patting down my noodles just to kind of give it that little hammered look. You can't do it too much because they're so thin, but I think it's going to give it a little bit of extra detail. I want to flatten everything out. All right, so now my next step is to get all my pieces, and I want to line everything up the way that's going to be connected. And the reason for that is because I want to know exactly where my holes are going to go. There we go. That's going to be a really neat piece. I am already super happy with this. I know I say that in all my videos. At least I think I do. But I really am happy with this. All right. Look how cool that looks already. It's not even complete. Everything is nice and leveled. It's even. Super happy about that. So my next step is I am going to put my little holes into my piece. I'm going to get my small hole puncher. And then I got to decide, am I going to do 2 here or just 1? But I think I'm going to do 2 for that extra security. So I'm going to go right on the edge. And then it's nice because now, because you have everything lined up, you know exactly where your next hole is going to go. I'm going to put one here. And when you're doing the holes, don't go too close to the edge because you don't want to break your piece. You see how I'm lining them up? So I know exactly where everything's going to go nicely. And then I'm going to do one up here. I'm wondering if I should do a chain that kind of go, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do a chain that connects up because I think that'll look real pretty. So there we go, guys. Now our pieces, we're ready to put them in the oven. Make sure everything is exactly the way that you want it to be beforehand, because once it's in the oven, you're not going to be able to change it. So I'm just going to do a quick little hammer job on different, I was going to call them stones, different pieces of my clay to make sure that they have that good texture. Just make sure I didn't miss anything. If your clay, make sure it's separated to keep the stone look. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put this in the oven at 275 because that's what the recommended temperature is. And then when they are completely cooled off, we will finish putting this all together. So I will be back then. Okay, guys, so my pieces are out of the oven and they're cooled off. I went ahead and I did a few things, but I'm going to show you what I did. I just didn't want you guys to have to sit there and watch a whole video of me doing it. So I took this gunmetal paint and I did, oops, I did all the little insides. And the reason I did that was because I didn't want the black showing. I thought it would look nicer with a little bit of silver, but I did not want it to be a real bright silver. So I thought gunmetal silver would look good. So this has been sitting there for a little bit. The paint is completely dried. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sandpaper and I'm going to sandpaper or sand off all that paint on my stones. Okay, so I sanded everything down. I'm just taking my toothbrush, getting everything completely off. I did have a little bit of, if you want to keep the black, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I just wanted the silver underneath. All right, so now my next, oh, I also sanded this down right away because I wanted this area to be as smooth as possible. So my next step is going to be taking my paint marker and then I'm gonna do all my edges and making these look like a nice metal. I kind of want to look like, I want it to look like it's inlaid, like a whole mosaic thing. So that's what I'm going for. The back will get after everything dries. Now I want to get the front, but I want to be very careful not to get my red, because then we have to resand again. And I did that with my smaller pieces by accident, so I want to avoid that if possible. See, by keeping it real thin like that, it looks like it's a little metal plate that you inlaid all these stones in, and I like that look. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll do the back. All right, I'm going to let that completely dry, which should not take too long. Put that off to the side. And while that's drying, we're going to get our chain area ready. So what I did was, I have this suede rope, and I cut it out to 6 inches. So I did 3 pieces completely, okay? 3 pieces for each side. And then I have these little clamps. So I'm going to take my 3 pieces, and I'm going to put them right next to each other and make sure they're all laying the same way. And then I'll take my little clamp, and I'm going to push it down as far as I can with my hand. And then I'll take my pliers somewhere. Oh, right here. I'll take my pliers, and then I'm just going to squeeze this down, okay? So then we have that together. And then I'm going to pull this all the way down, make sure it's nice and tight. I want to make sure it's all even. So I'm going to trim that up. Where's my scissors? And here. There we go. And we'll do the same exact thing to this one. All right, so very simple. Then I took just a metal chain, and I cut that out to 4 inches. So I'm going to take this chain, and I'm going to make sure it's even. So I'm folding it in half. I have my jump ring. I'm going to open that up. Okay, and then I'm going to fold this in half. I'm going to make sure it's nice and even. Best that I can get. And then I'm going to put the jump ring right in the middle. Maybe. Come on. There we go. And then I'm going to take that, and I will attach that on one side of the rope with a suede, and then close that completely. Okay. So let's put that off to the side for right now. That's nice and dry. And now we're going to take our whoopee, and we are going to just pour it right in there. Got my brush, and then I'm just going to pull my liquid Sculpey, or my glaze, I'm sorry. I'm going to take my glaze, and just pull it to cover the entire inside of this. And I know I made it thick. I always do. No particular reason why. I just have a bad habit of always putting way too much. So I just want to make sure I'm getting every little area. All right, guys. So now my pieces are completely dry. Look how beautiful they look. That looks so cool. I'm like super happy with these. I went ahead and I started putting together some of the pieces, but I'm going to show you exactly what I did, like I did before. And the first thing we're going to do is we will attach the main pieces here. So this is the, let me get the clay off of me. This is the size jump ring that I will be using. All you do is open it. Oh, wait, first, sorry. Make sure your holes are completely open. Sometimes they don't open all the way, or they end up getting reclosed with the paint and everything. So we will just make sure everything is open completely. Okay. Now we'll get our jump ring, put it through, and then I like to just put it right through the back on the next side because it seems to kind of flow easier that way. And then we will just close that piece. Do the same thing on the bottom. And I'm just gonna kind of spin that a bit. And let's see if we could get it in the front this time. There we go. Yeah, I like to spin these and stick them inside the holes. And we'll put that through the back. And we have that connected. Okay. I'm going to see if I can spin that. There we go. Okay. Now I have two smaller jump rings for the ends here. All right. So what we're going to do here is you're going to lay these down and you're going to do the bottom first, because you're going to have to measure out how your piece is going to lay and then remove some of the chain for the top. So I had to take 6 links off of my top to make sure that it would lay properly. So I want to make sure I'm having the right side facing forward. So how do I have this one? I have the, okay, this one. All right. And then you're going to kind of lay it down a bit to see how exactly it's going to fall. See which chain is going to go where. So this is going to be my bottom one. I know that it's going to get connected. Okay. And then, like I said, I know that I had to take 6 off of my top because if I do it like that, it's gonna, when I lay it down, it's gonna lay funny. So let me open this first. Oops. Open that. This one's a little tougher. Get that in there. And then I know, like I said, I'm going to show you. So if I put this on just like that, come on, this part will be looser and it's going to look funny. So you're going to want to shorten it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 links. Going to come off. And then I will attach it. And I'm going to spin this. Okay. And lastly, see, that's laying funny now too. What is going on? Oh, it's stuck. That's why. Why is that laying funny? Okay, so I don't know why that's laying funny, but what I'm going to do to fix this problem, so I'm going to open this, take this off. I'm going to find exactly how I want this to lay. And I'm thinking right there, right here. This is probably the easiest way to do it, instead of going through all that trouble that I just said to do. I should have thought about this first. Is that going to lay right? Did I grab the right one? Let me do it this way. Because your chain is going to go up. You see what I mean? Right there. Okay. That's the one that I want. So, and then attach this. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side because I want to make sure after all that work, this lays properly. Okay. That's much better looking. This one's not too bad. I almost feel like, for some reason I got this one right, but that one I didn't initially. But, all right, so we figured it out. Okay, lastly, we will put on our clasp. I will open my small jump ring. I'm going to put it on here with my clasp. Close that, and then put on our very last jump ring. And there is our piece. Look how beautiful that is, guys. I am very happy with this piece. I think it came out just lovely. It almost gives me that Indian jewelry, the American Indian jewelry vibe. There's so many things you could do with this mosaic style that my mind during this project was really thinking of 2 other projects I like to try out. So I'm almost sure that you guys will have 2 more videos coming out with this mosaic style. I hope you guys really did enjoy creating this along with me. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hey guys, just a little information before this video completely ends. I ended up changing a few things. So on the bottom, I actually got a jump ring that was about the same size, but it was thicker. And then on the top, I went a little smaller. So I'm going to show you quickly the sizes. So here would be one size, and then here is the other size. So on the bottom here, I did the bigger one, and then the top and these 4 were the smaller ones. And the reason I did that was because on the neckline, it actually stays in this position and it lays really nice. Where before, when I had 2 big ones, these were kind of down like this and it didn't lay right. So when you're creating your piece, use 2 different sizes, a bigger one on the bottom and a smaller one on the top. So I hope that helps. See you guys next time. Bye.